Digestion in the human body is a complex process involving several organs and stages, which collectively break down food into smaller, absorbable components that can be used by the body for energy, growth, and repair. Salivary glands. Digestion starts in the mouth, where salivary glands secrete saliva. Saliva is an alkaline fluid which softens food, moistens the mouth and helps swallowing. Saliva also contains an enzyme called amylase, which starts the breakdown of carbohydrate in the mouth. Oesophagus. Food in the mouth is swallowed and then pushed through the esophagus by muscular contractions and relaxations, called peristalsis, until it reaches the lower esophageal sphincter, which is a valve that controls food moving from the esophagus into the stomach and stops it from refluxing back up the esophagus. Stomach. The stomach is a holding tank with very strong muscular walls. These muscles contract, which moves food around and mixes it up. The stomach lining secretes acidic gastric juices and enzymes to digest carbohydrate and protein. Then the semi-digested food, called chyme, is delivered to the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, by passing through another valve, the pyloric sphincter. Pancreas. The pancreas is a tadpole-shaped organ, around 25 centimeters long, situated behind the stomach in the abdomen. The pancreas produces pancreatic juice which contains enzymes to digest protein, starch and fat. The pancreatic juice is secreted into the duodenum through the duodenal papilla, sometimes called the ampulla of Fata. The pancreas is also responsible for producing insulin, a hormone which controls blood sugar. Duodenum. In the duodenum, the chyme, the pancreatic juice and bile from the liver are mixed. The acidic chyme from the stomach is neutralized by the alkaline environment of the duodenum. Food can be digested here in only small amounts, so it's released from the stomach gradually when there is capacity to process it. Pancreatic enzymes and bile finish off the chemical breakdown of the acidic stomach contents. Bile is a greenish-yellow fluid that is made in the liver. Its function is to help in the digestion of fats. It does this by emulsifying fats and breaking down larger globules of fat into smaller droplets, which can be more easily digested. Bile is stored and concentrated in the gallbladder, a small pear-shaped sac located on the undersurface of the liver on the right-hand side of your abdomen. When fatty foods are consumed, the gallbladder is triggered to release bile into the small intestine via the common bile duct. If a person has had their gallbladder removed, called a cholecystectomy, bile will drain continuously into the small intestine, and it will become more diluted, as there is no gallbladder to concentrate it. This affects a person's ability to digest fats. They may have trouble digesting fatty foods. So eating fat after gallbladder removal may need to be managed carefully for a while to avoid discomfort, flatulence, wind, and diarrhea. The biliary tract refers to the system of ducts that transport bile from the liver to the gallbladder and small intestine. If a bile duct becomes obstructed, blocked, a person will develop jaundice. 5. Jejunum and ileum. From the duodenum, the mixture is passed into the next section of the small intestine, called the jejunum, and then on to the ileum. The inside surface area of the jejunum and the ileum is increased by folds and also by millions of finger-like projections called villi and microvilli, increase the surface area of the inside of the jejunum and ileum, creating a greater area for absorption of nutrients. The jejunum has a larger surface area than the ileum, and about 90% of digestion and absorption occurs here. However, the ileum can take on a larger role if the jejunum is damaged or removed. The ileum is the site for absorption of vitamin B12. Any undigested food, such as fiber, is passed through the ileocecal valve to the large intestine. 6. Liver and gallbladder. The incoming blood from the small intestine brings nutrients to the liver for processing. For example, glucose from the breakdown of food is brought to the liver and stored there as glycogen. Other nutrients brought to the liver include amino acids and glycerol. As mentioned earlier, one of the liver's functions is to secrete bile, which is then stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. 7. Large intestine, colon. Once the nutrients have been absorbed into the body from the small intestine, the remaining waste is passed into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The large intestine is made up of the cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon and sigmoid colon and rectum. The appendix is attached to the cecum. Content from the small intestine comes into the large intestine as fluid and gradually becomes solid as water and salts are absorbed out as it travels through the large intestine by muscular waves called peristalsis. Mucus is secreted to aid the passage of feces to the rectum. Stool, or feces, are stored in the sigmoid colon until a bowel